everyone. Did you finish reading the story on your own? Well, just in case, we're going to look at it together over here. But before we begin, I want you to take a look at what you can see on your screen. What can you see? Well, we see lots of green and all these lines. Do you think maybe, what's that? It's a map. Aha, it's a map. Is it a map of your neighborhood? Or maybe your city? Doesn't look like a map of the city or your neighborhood because, well, really, there's not a lot of buildings. So, there's lots of trees. These look like trees, don't they? All these little bumpy things. So is it a map of the park? Maybe. There's lots of lakes and little streams. Or, well, what are all these black parts? This one looks like a giraffe. That one looks like a polar bear. Ooh, I wonder what that one is. And all the way over here, here's a rhinoceros. Wait a minute, that's not all black, it's black and white. That's a zebra. What is this place? That's right, it's the zoo. And this is a map of the zoo. But let's see, there's something strange about this zoo. Are all the bears together? Are all the birds together? Are all the monkeys together? No, they're not. They're all in different places. Look at this one. This one kind of looks like a buffalo or a cow. And then, over here, that one could be a cow too. This one too. How did they choose where to put these animals? Usually, if you go to a zoo, they put all animals together by, well, what they look like. But this one's a little different. Take a look here. This one says the African savanna. So all of the animals here live in, that's right, they live in Africa. And then over here it says the Canadian domain. So these are all animals from Canada. You see, this is a zoo from Canada, where Mr. James is from. Now this one, this part of the zoo has all the animals from North America and South America together. And down here it says Eurasia. Eurasia. Remember, Asia and Europe touch on the map? So all the animals from Europe and Asia are all in here. Look at that. What do you think that animal is? Well, before we look at the zoo anymore, we are going to go and read our story. Okay? Are you ready? Get your Journeys book and let's go. So, here we go. In our Journeys book, it's Amazing Animals. Amazing Animals by Gwendolyn Hooks. It says by Gwendolyn Hooks, so Gwendolyn Hooks must be the author. She wrote the story. Big eyes, long beak, thick fur, big squeak. Animals get a lot of help as they grow up. Let's find out about 8 amazing animals. Polar bear. A polar bear has thick fur. Each hair is like a tube. The hair has no color, like glass. The sun makes it look white. How does thick white fur help? How does this polar bear's thick white fur help it? Thick fur helps polar bears stay warm. The color of their fur looks the same as snow. This helps them hide. Where does this cute young polar bear like to hide? Remember, we talked about all this in class, right? Where does the baby polar bear like to hide? He likes to hide under his mummy. And did you know we call a baby polar bear a cub? The polar bear cub likes to hide under his mother's tummy. Remember we talked about why it's important for a polar bear to hide? Can you remember why? It's so that the other animals don't see it when he's trying to catch them, right? But there's one other reason, especially for polar bear cubs to hide. Do you know what it is? Well, the truth is, sometimes other animals try to catch polar bear cubs, so they need to hide in the snow too, because it can be very dangerous. Now, who's our next animal? It's the elephant. An elephant has a long nose. The nose is called a trunk. It takes many years for an elephant to grow two big teeth. Do you see the two big teeth on the elephant? These teeth are called tusks. How do tusks and a trunk help? Well, I remember all of you told me how a trunk helps, but can you remember how the tusk helps? Elephants use their tusks to scrape bark off trees. Then they eat the bark. These elephants are learning to use their trunks to get water. Ooh, look at the baby elephants. They're using their trunks to get some water. But do you remember? What do they use their tusks for? Is it just for poking? They're long teeth, so are they for chewing? It says here, they scrape bark off trees. Remember I told you what it means to scrape? It means if there's something stuck on you, you use your nails and you scratch it off, right? So you scrape it off. So they use their tusks to scrape the bark off of trees. Now bark is like, well, it's like the skin on a tree. So what do the elephants like to eat? They like to eat the bark. Sometimes they will spray water at a friend. Those funny elephants shooting water at each other. Ooh, who's our next animal? It's the camel. Some camels have one hump. Some have two. All camels have 2 rows of eyelashes? Can you blink your eyes and feel your eyelashes? How do humps and thick eyelashes help? Can you tell me? Did you read it already? Well, they're going to tell us now. A camel's hump has fat inside. On long trips, a camel's body uses the fat for food. A camel's eyelashes keep out the desert sand. This baby camel will follow his mother when the herd goes from place to place. So, what's inside the camel's hump? Is it full of water? No, it's full of fat. Do you know what fat is? Well, if you eat too much, your fat will go to your tummy. Fat is something that your body makes to keep all your extra energy. That's why your tummy keeps getting bigger and bigger if you eat too much, because all that food that you eat gave you energy, but if you don't use it, it's got to go somewhere, right? It just stays inside your body until you use it all. So be careful not to eat too much. And how about his long eyelashes? What did it do? It says, a camel's eyelashes keep out the desert sand. So, in the desert, when the sand is blowing all around, how can the camel keep his eyes open? Does he wear glasses like I do? Nope. His eyelashes stop the dust from coming into its eyes. Now, who is this? It's a duck. A duck is a bird. It has 2 feet, and each foot has 3 toes. A duck has a beak too. How do feet and a beak help? How do feet and a beak help a duck? Well, it's not just having feet. Ducks use their feet to swim in the water or walk on land. They use their beaks to eat plants and bugs. Look, this duck uses her beak to clean her friend. That's right, ducks have a special oil that grow on their beaks, and they use it to clean their feathers. Oh, and did you see the duck's feet? Is it just the toes? Between the toes, well, the toes look like your fingers too, but between them there's skin, so it helps them push in the water. Now here is the giraffe. A giraffe has spots. A giraffe has a long neck. How do spots and a long neck help? How do spots and a long neck help? Well, we can see the long neck, and the giraffe is using it to do what? To get food. But what about these spots? Did the spots help it get food? Someone told us the word yesterday. Oops. A giraffe's spots help it hide. A giraffe's long neck helps it reach the leaves of trees. This giraffe's long neck helps her reach her baby. She gives him a big kiss. The mommy giraffe gives the baby giraffe a big kiss. Did your mama give you a big kiss today? Now, what did the spots do? The spots help the giraffe hide because when the grass gets really tall, it gets very brown, and it's easy for the giraffes to hide there. What's this next one? It says porcupine. Porcupine. A porcupine has soft quills when it is born. The quills get sharp in a day or two. How do quills help? They're sharp, pointy nails. They're called quills. Do you think you know how they help? Even if you don't read, I'm sure you do. Quills can help keep a porcupine safe. If an animal begins to come too close, the porcupine backs into it. The sharp quills hurt. Quills tell this cub to stay away. What kind of cub do we see here? Is it a bear cub? That doesn't look like a bear cub. That's a lion cub. And now we have a turtle. A turtle has a shell that is very hard. How does a hard shell help? How does the hard shell help? A turtle can hide inside its shell from an animal that may hurt it. The turtle waits until the animal goes away. Then the turtle comes back out. You're safe now, turtle. Dolphin. I love dolphins. Don't you love dolphins? A dolphin's tail has two parts called flukes. A dolphin has two flippers. How do tail flukes and flippers help? Well, do you see the flippers? Here are the flippers. And what about these flukes? Where are they? Well, it said they're on the tail. So here's the dolphin's tail, and then here are its flukes. How does the dolphin's flukes and flippers help? I'm sure you know. A dolphin flips its tail flukes up and down to swim fast. It uses its flippers to turn to the left or the right. These two dolphins swim away fast. Who will be first? Have fun, dolphins! Okay, that was the end of our story. Now, I want you to think about a couple things before we meet next time. One thing is, well, they told us a dolphin has a special tail. It has these things called flukes, and it has these flippers. But fish, well, fish have flippers too, or they have fins, and they have tails too. But if you look very carefully, fish tails and dolphin tails are different, not just because they have flukes. I want you to see if you can find some pictures of dolphins and fish and figure out how their tails are different. Oh, and there's one more thing I want you to check out. Let's go back all the way to the duck. Here is the duck. The duck has a beak. All birds have beaks. That means they have a hard mouth and nose. But there's one other thing. We call duck beaks, we call them bills. And, well, all birds have feet, but ducks have special feet because, what did we say? They have skin between the toes. These are called webbed feet. Now, I want you to think of any other birds that have bills instead of beaks and webbed feet instead of just regular feet. Do you think you can find some? Well, if you do, let me know, and I'll talk to you next time, okay? See you soon.